Good afternoon, my lovelies. Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. You are in my kitchen. I'm still in my pajamas, but I was making two dishes today side by side, and I thought I should bring you guys in so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm hosting a brunch tomorrow, and the theme for that is an Indo-Chinese theme. So I'm going to be prepping some spring rolls for tomorrow's brunch. And I'm also cooking dinner for my family, for which I'm going to make baby eggplant with potatoes. This is a recipe that I've done on the live many times. It also exists on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't caught it there, definitely go and check it out. I will make it with you right here, right now. And by the time we are done with this video, we will have all the prep done for the spring rolls. And we will also have an Indian eggplant and potato dish ready to rock and roll. Okay, so quickly just familiarizing you with all of the ingredients that we're going to use. We are making this out of chicken. You can use impossible meat. You can use lamb, minced chicken. You can use cans of tuna. You can use just vegetables to make these spring rolls. I'm going to show you how to do the filling for the spring roll first. So I'm just using a store-bought tray of minced chicken. That's one of the things that's going on here. For rolling the sheets, I'm going to use these TYJ spring roll sheets. I may not be able to actually fry the spring rolls on the live because I do have to allow the filling to cool, but I'll definitely show you the technique which we need for folding to get the right size and how to make it really cool. Some of the other ingredients that we're going to start with is a ginger garlic paste. You can also use fresh ginger and fresh garlic. That's actually better than the paste that you can get. We are using some crushed red peppers. Everybody has this in their pantry. I'm going to start out with sauteing some onions because I do want to give it that little texture and that depth of flavor. If you plan to freeze the spring rolls, then don't use fresh onions, just use onion powder. It's going to make your life a lot easier, okay? I'm also going to use carrots from my CSA, from my community supported agriculture box. I've just cut it into very, very small pieces right there. And instead of cabbage, I'm actually using 2 heads of Brussels sprouts. These are farm fresh Brussels sprouts that came in my bag. Hello, Kenna, how are you? Welcome to everybody that is tuning in. I welcome you to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Without any further ado, let's just rock and roll and get this recipe started. Okay, so the first thing that's going to go in is some hot oil that I've put in some oil in there. It's heating up really well. In go the onions. Only the onions, not the cabbage yet, not the cauliflower, not the carrot, not the anything else. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna turn up the heat because I was trying to work with both pans at the same time. So I'm just gonna quickly saute this. I'm not trying to caramelize the onions over here. It's just a quick saute. You know what, I think I need to bring my Facebook people closer so they can get a better view of what is going on in this pan. Okay, all right. So I'm just gonna quickly saute this. When it's been sauteing for a couple of seconds, I am going to add in our ginger and our garlic, and I'm going to add in the crushed red peppers. So the ginger, garlic, and crushed red peppers, this is the holy trinity of any Chinese, Indian style Chinese food that you're making. This is how you start it out. If you use fresh ginger and fresh garlic, it absolutely gives a phenomenal taste. So I do have a fresh knob of ginger, which I think I'm going to grate and put on top of the filling just before I fill the spring rolls. Correct? You can use any chicken bouillon powder, soup powder, whatever you can find. You can use that to give that added umami to your dish. Go ahead and add the red pepper flakes. I don't like anything super spicy, but my guests do, so I'm just going to put it in there. Now we're basically trying to cook the chicken till it's kind of sort of dry to the touch. And that's how it's going to hold up. This is something you can make ahead of time. You can freeze it. You can take it out and thaw it and air fry it whenever you want to. So it lends itself beautifully to stuff like that. Okay. So while that is going on, I am going to start the other recipe, which is my eggplant with potatoes. This is the baby eggplant dish that I'm making. Okay. You guys keep an eye on this. I'm going to do the prep for the baby eggplant dish. Okay. This just needs to saute. Unfortunately, my Chinese spice powder is still in my car. I've done a food demonstration and I was teaching a class. so I haven't brought it back upstairs. But if you have Chinese spice powder, keep that handy. You're going to need that. Okay, coming to our eggplant dish. Hello, everybody from TikTok that's joining in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for spending this afternoon with me. For the baby eggplant, I've cleaned off the tops because sometimes there could be bugs and dirt underneath. So just wash it really nicely, clean off the green part, chop it off, and then cut it into, make an X like this, make a slit like this, right? There's an X. You can see it's quite a deep X. And I've done that for all of these eggplants. Then I have one potato that I've peeled and sliced into medallions. You can see it's not a very thin medallion, it's quite a thick one. The idea is that by the time the eggplant cooks, the potatoes shall cook as well. Okay, so that's ready to go. I have to keep an eye on this at all times. Give this a gentle stir. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the chicken to this. If you have a lot of spring rolls to fill, use the entire tray. If you don't have a lot, then just add half a tray. Also remember that when you add the vegetables, then the bulk of it increases. The chicken will actually shrink down, but the vegetables will add the body, the volume, and the texture to it. Okay? So just break it with the back of your spatula. Give it a gentle stir. You don't need a whole lot of filling inside each spring roll, and these are actually, the sheets are quite small, so we don't need very big portions of filling to go inside. I'm just going to go ahead and add just a tad bit more. If I have extra, I'll just make a sandwich out of it, no big deal. Right, you're going to allow this to cook. To this, I'm going to add, before I add the salt, I'm going to add some chicken bouillon powder. Now, if you're doing the vegetarian version of this recipe, add the mushroom bouillon. That'll give it that nice umami that you need in Chinese dishes. So just add that. Let this saute for a while. I'm going to go ahead and add some cilantro. The bulk of cilantro will actually be added after it cools down so that you'll be able to bite into it and taste the cilantro and the freshness of it. Don't put all of your cilantro at this time. Okay, I'm just going to cook this down. I'm going to add a little bit of hot sauce. If you don't like it hot, then don't put the hot sauce and the chili flakes. You can do either or. The guests that I'm cooking for like it hot and spicy, so that's what I'm going for. You can also add white pepper or black pepper if you want to keep it to a spice level that everybody can enjoy. And sometimes I also add a little bit of raisins to my spring roll filling so that it's a nice balance of sweet and sour and tangy and tasty and savory and spicy all at the same time. Okay? So this will continue to cook. Just give everything a good stir. Make sure the chicken is not raw. This is a very quick process. Till the time you see raw chicken, don't add any vegetables. Okay, so hold off on putting the vegetables. I've added a little bit of barbecue sauce. You can use whatever kind you have. And then add just a hint of sesame oil right into the ground chicken. This sesame oil gives it that taste of a very high-end, expensive Chinese restaurant kind of feel. Some people like to put bamboo shoots and water chestnuts and whatnot. It's great. I mean, if you have it in your pantry, hey, why not? I just don't have it, so I'm not using any. Okay. One secret that I'm going to use, since I don't have the Chinese spice powder, I'm just going to use a store-bought, like a soup mix. It could be any brand from any country. If you're Indonesian, do the Indonesian Chinese version. If you're Malaysian, do a Malaysian Chinese soup, like a premix. If you're Korean, just do a Korean soup mix. If you're Guyanese, if you're Indian, just do whatever is the local Chinese soup kind of thing that you get in your store. Because this has all the seasonings. It has the white pepper, black pepper, all of the aromatics. So it's going to help you out in developing the flavor, okay? So keep this on a high flame and keep stirring it. The idea is to have all of the moisture evaporate from this chicken. Also, don't put too much soy sauce in this because you don't want it to come out black. When someone opens or bites into the spring roll, the last thing you want to see is a black looking filling, okay? You can add mushrooms if you want. You can add woodier mushrooms. You can add portobello mushrooms. You've just got to cook this out. I have not added any salt to this yet. Okay, so basically I'm just stir frying this. That's what I'm doing. And when you hear the sizzle, that's when you're going to go ahead and add. If you have cabbage, use cabbage. I'm using Brussels sprouts. Add this. And add the carrots. Okay? I'm going to add a hint of sugar to this, just a pinch, just to balance the spicy and savory. And now I'm going to give it a good stir. We don't want to overcook this because this is also going to get deep fried, right? So make sure the chicken is cooked. We are not going to cover it at any point because we don't want it to release any moisture. When you cook with pre-made sauces instead of salt, it helps you to avoid all of the vegetables and the chicken sweating it out. So that's really great. So don't put any salt into this. If you want to add any cashews or raisins, do it at this time. So as far as I'm concerned, this filling is pretty much done. I am going to take some small pieces of ginger and just pop it in there, just for a fresh little kick. I'm going to chop it really, really small. For those of you who can't see my chopping board, I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to do it, and I'll chop it and then I'll show you. If you want to add tiny pieces of bell peppers or red and green and yellow peppers, you can do that. Just remember, if you're trying to freeze this thing, don't add any of those vegetables. Okay, so this is just freshly chopped ginger. I'm just going to add that right in here. It's going to have a really nice bite to it and a nice freshness to it. Okay, it needs to dry out some more. I just have to cook it out on a high heat and just char the chicken. I'm just going to taste it. Filling actually tastes really good. I haven't had to add any salt. Everything has come together from just the pre-made sauces and the little bit of soup mix that I added in. Okay, so this is coming along beautifully. I'm going to step away from this and start doing the prep for okay, so this is all done. I'm going to start doing the prep for the eggplant dish, and I'm going to bring the camera right over here so y'all can see what's going on. I will keep this on a medium flame just to give it that char. Now for the eggplant filling, what we're going to do, so we're going from Indian Chinese to North Indian, okay? So we're making baby eggplant with potatoes. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am making a filling for my chicken spring rolls for tomorrow's brunch. And I'm also cooking dinner for tonight for my family, for which I'm making baby eggplant stuffed with spices and then with potatoes. So the spices that are going to go into the eggplant filling is Himalayan pink salt. You can use any salt you want. This is Indian Kashmiri chili powder or paprika, a little bit of cumin powder, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of asafoetida, and coriander seed powder, okay? Now, if you don't have access to Indian spices, just go on my website, queenscurrykitchen.com. There is a spice box and there is a spice refill packet that you can get. So you don't have to go looking for it. It's all there. You can get it in a box. You can get it without the box. However you want it. Okay? Now this is really building a lot of nice char. I'm just going to let it sit here. Time to mix these spices together and create the filling for the eggplant. Okay? Alrighty. So you'll get a homogeneous spice blend that looks like this. Just make sure it's salty enough, and I always estimate the salt, but you can always do, like you can take a pinch of the spice blend and put it on the tip of your tongue to see if it's salty enough or not. Basically, you have to estimate what is the total amount of salt you're going to need for these many baby eggplants and then do it like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start filling these baby eggplants. I'm going to move this to the side. This is done. Let it cool and then I'll probably have the time to show you how we fold and wrap the spring rolls. Okay, just going to turn the camera over here. So here's the eggplant that we had prepped. We've cleaned off the green part. We've cleaned off the stem. We've made an X gash. Just make the gash, but don't cut it all the way through, right? So it's still attached, but you can see that there's an X. So there's a hole this way, right? You can see it, but it doesn't cut all the way through. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this spice blend, you're going to hold it open like this. You're going to put a little bit of the spice blend inside, then you're going to turn it, open the other side, and turn it again. Give it a gentle shake and drop it into the hot oil, okay? Again, repeat the process. So basically we have to cook these eggplants on all four sides into the hot oil. You can see it starts to sizzle. You don't want to overfill these because the powdered spices will start burning and that's going to ruin your dish. So just have enough seasoning that it'll be flavorful. But we are going to cook these eggplants till they're soft. Okay? Gonna keep doing that. If you have any questions with what you're seeing, if you like what you see, send me some stars, give me some hearts and likes so I know I can bring more content to you that speaks to you in recipes that you want to learn. If there's anything in specific that you want to learn from Indian food, any of your favorite dishes, drop it in the comments below so that I can show you demonstrations on Facebook Live with all of your favorite foods. Okay, now I'm going to just drain out the water from these potatoes. I'd soak them in so that they do not discolor. Just going to drain out that. And I'm going to increase the flame on this. Okay. So now basically what's happening is that we are frying these eggplants on all four sides. Correct? Okay. Now for this filling, coming back to it, it's cooled off a little bit. But the best way to do that is to actually take it out in a plate or a bowl. You see, look at the charring at the bottom of the chicken. You see all these brown spots? These are all charring, and really that's where the beauty of it, that's where the taste of it is. You can see it's quite moist even at this point. What you can do is you can add a little bit of cornstarch to this to make it dry up fairly quickly. If only I can find it, that'd be nice. Yes, I have it right over here. Just sprinkle a little bit of cornstarch to soak up whatever moisture is there. That way you'll have quite a dry mix when you're trying to stuff the spring rolls. Quick wash of hands. This is going on. I do have to give it a flip. So I'm going to go ahead and flip these eggplants. Cook on the other side. You'll see that the color has changed from purple to a dark brown. That's because the oil is searing them and they are cooking. So just make sure that they sit properly in your pan. They have round bottoms, so you want to make sure that they don't roll over and you're able to cook them evenly, okay? So just make sure they are able to do that. If you're not following this page, definitely give it a follow and keep your notifications on so that you will know whenever I am live next. You'll get notified. That way you won't miss out any of our cook-along sessions. I do encourage people to eat at least one meal as a family every day together at the dinner table. Families that dine together, shine together is my motto. My name is Nupur. I live in New York, in Queens, and I make curry in my kitchen. I'm also the owner of Queen's Curry Kitchen, a plant-forward meal delivery service, catering company, and online cooking that I teach to people who love Indian food and love Indian flavors. My website also has a lot of ebooks that I've written on the subject. Hello, Ruby. How are you? It's good to see you. Now I'm just going ahead and laying the potatoes wherever the rest of the oil was. There was a lot of space in the wok that was not being used, so I've just gone ahead and laid those down. I'm going to take some of the seasoning that I created, the sprinkling, and I'm going to sprinkle it right on top of the potatoes. Now everything needs to cook. Okay, so I need to give it that time. Quick wash of hands. At this time, the flame is medium to medium high. Okay, I'm going to go back to this and just stir it up a little bit. And I'm going to remove it onto a plate or a container. And then we work from there. Okay, so this is the container. I'm going to remove all of this and put it right in here. Because remember, if you leave it in the hot pan, it's going to continue to cook with residual heat, and that way it's never going to cool off. When you put it in a container and then stick it in the fridge, if it's a wide container, then it's really going to cool off very quickly. So when you're in a rush, you can do that. This is a great recipe because you can literally make this ahead of time and be ready when your guests come. That way you're not making anything from scratch. All you have to do is just air fry it or fry it. Some people fry it and then only microwave it before serving. I'm not a fan of that because I don't like the taste of the old oil in my fried snacks. And appetizers have to be really nice and hot when they're cooked. That's how you retain the freshness. So I'm a big sucker for that. So I don't really fry anything ahead of time. I do all the prep, but I don't actually fry it. Okay, so this is ready. You can add peanuts to this. You can add cashews. You can add raisins. If you want, you can add a shot of vinegar, just a little bit, to kind of balance the sweet, the sour, the savory, and the umami. Okay, coming back to this, just give it a gentle shake. Okay, now you can see that the potatoes are also caramelizing. I'm just going to gently toss them around, give them a flip. Just make sure, don't make the flame too high so that your powdered spices don't start to burn, okay? And if you don't feel confident about that, about sprinkling the powdered spices directly onto the potatoes, just add the salt and pepper and all the other spices you can add when you add a little bit of liquid or tomatoes to make the gravy for this. Okay? So you'll see that the eggplants are softening up. Just make sure it's exposed and you turn it around a few times so that all four sides all around are fairly cooked, and they're quite stout at the bottom, so you want to make sure that nothing is raw when you bite into it. I also make this recipe a lot in my Instant Pot, and it does wonders because I can actually pressure cook the eggplant with very little oil and it still tastes fabulous. Okay, so now this is ready. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the ginger garlic paste that I have for an additional layer of flavoring. Then I'm going to go ahead and add, where is my tomato going? Somewhere. Okay, so let me just add a fresh tomato in that. Since I can't find the pureed tomato, I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of the fresh tomato. What that's going to do is going to help to bring some moisture into this thing, and then we are going to cook this out, okay? So just add big chunks of tomatoes. They will release the moisture into here. So do that. Add a little bit. Ideally, this recipe cooks very well with tomato puree or tomato paste, whatever you have. It gives the gravy a nice tang, and all of that goes and sticks to the body of the eggplant, which kind of makes it super interesting. Okay, now to this I'm also going to add just a little dash of water so that everything will cook beautifully. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt for the potatoes, a little extra dash of asafetida, And now I'm gonna cover this, okay? So the heat is medium. I'm just gonna leave it at this. The steam that's arising right now from the water is going to do two things. It's going to help to soften the potatoes, and it's also going to help to cook the ginger garlic. It'll also help to remove the skin from the tomatoes. You'll see the skin will fall off very easily. This is the rest of the seasoning that I had left. I'm also going to go ahead and add all of this now, because there is some liquid in the pan, so I know that there is no fear of anything burning. This should be good. If you need to go ahead and add a little more water, go ahead and do that. Just let this simmer and do its thing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I actually fold this. Okay, the spice mix is, the filling is still quite hot, but I'll show you the technique, and then I won't actually be frying it, but I'll quickly unravel it so that I'm going to make it after it's cooled, maybe tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay, so I'll just reposition the camera so you can see how we do the spring rolls. So this is the filling that we just made with the chicken. You can do this with impossible meat. You can do this with vegetables only. You can do it with potatoes. You can do it with paneer. Whatever you got, just do it with that. So one thing that we are going to add, I'm just going to take out a small portion of it just to show you what to do. Okay, so let's say I'm filling one spring roll, so I'm just going to take out a little bit. You will do this to the whole thing, but I'm just doing it now because I want the whole thing to cool before I add any of this. I'm just doing it at a very small scale. You're going to obviously do it at a larger scale. You're going to add fresh cilantro to this, and you're going to add fresh sesame oil to the whole thing, okay? And then you're going to give it a good mix. So just give it a good mix. Make sure you taste the filling to see if it's salty, sweet, whatever you want it, however spicy you want it. Make sure the filling is to your liking. Now coming to the actual sheets. This is a small spring roll sheet. We are going to need a bowl of water just to seal our sheet. Okay. And so I personally like to take more than a couple, and you'll know from like brand to brand, there's no right or wrong answer. One sheet is never enough, so you want to use at least 2 or 3 to make it sturdy and solid. So here I have about 1, 2, and 3. There's 4 actually right in here. Okay, so 3 I think is a good number. 4 is not bad either, depending on what your filling is and how sturdy you want it to be. Okay, so you're going to position your sheet like this. Please leave it by the door, thank you. You're going to position your sheet like this in a diamond pattern with the corners facing you. Then you're going to take your filling and scoop it right over here in the middle, like this. You don't want it to be scanty, you want it to be a mouthful, but you also don't want it to be so stuffed that it'll burst when you're frying. So it's a very delicate balance that you have to go for. Okay? And then you're going to fold, you're going to dip your finger in the water and run it around the corners, the edges. Some people also like to make a slurry with cornstarch and water. I feel like it's not necessary. Go like this. And tuck in the corners first. Make these match. Tuck this in. And then start rolling it very tight. Like super tight. Because you don't want anything to escape. And if you need to tuck this in, you have to hold it down. And do it like this. Okay. Now when you come to this last edge, just dip your finger in the water again. Moisten it. And make sure you've tucked in all the edges. And there. Just give it a little roll. So it's nice and secure. Whatever you see is gaping, just put a little water and pinch it closed so that the filling does not escape when you're trying to fry the spring rolls. Correct? Okay. So do you want me to do it again? I can do it one more time so you'll see what it's like. So this is just perfectly done. You're going to shape these and then you are going to line it on a sheet and put it in your fridge. Okay, before you fry them, you have to allow it to rest for a few moments. So the filling is still hot, I can feel it. Definitely make sure that the filling is completely cool before you make any of these spring rolls. You can also make different shapes. This is the shape that I find is the easiest to work with, and it doesn't unravel. It's pretty sturdy. So this is the shape that I work with. I've also worked with some very big spring roll sheets, and then I make those into a plus sign, put the filling, and then fold it like a packet. So I've done those as well. So you can make chicken packets. If you don't like Chinese flavors, you can definitely do a Mexican flair with taco seasoning on the ground chicken. You can make it Indian by just adding the Indian kebab masala to it. So there's so many ways that you can actually make this work for you. But this is how you're going to do it. You're going to leave it in your fridge for at least 20 minutes, and then you can deep fry them. You can air fry them. They taste really good, and they're super crispy. Even after they cool down, the crispness remains. So that's always a good thing, right? I am not going to fry them today because my guests are coming tomorrow. So I will be hosting them tomorrow. That's when I'll be frying them. But this is how you do the filling. Just add extra cilantro before you fill them in, and add the extra sesame oil. So the cold sesame oil and the cilantro really give it a nice fresh taste. Also, you can add a little bit of lemon juice or vinegar to balance the sourness and make it super tart. Just make it your own. I mean, it's not that complicated, right? So I showed you the technique. I've done this with very small sheets that are about this size. You can also make samosas with this. It's just really cool. I'm also going to be doing another kind of wonton, like I'm going to do banana wontons for dessert with a mango sorbet. So that's what I'm going to serve for dessert. It's a Chinese brunch that I'm doing. So I'm kind of trying to stick to very Asian, Oriental kind of flavors. So from this, you'll get a spring roll that looks like this. Just make a whole bunch of them and you can batch fry them. That should give you your beautiful appetizer for your guest. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment below. Let me bring you back to the eggplant dish and show you what is going on here. We have let it sit for a while with the fresh tomato that we added in. So let me bring you back in here and show you what that's looking like. You can see the steam that's coming out. Absolutely wonderful. The tomatoes have broken down. You can see this is what the tomatoes look like right now. Right, so they're quite pulpy. Now when you give it a flip, just do it with a very, very light hand. Do it very gingerly. Don't be rough. Don't be aggressive. Just give it a gentle flip and allow this thing to cook. You have to cook this till the potatoes are tender and till all of the eggplant is tender. If that means adding a little bits of water here and there to keep the steam being generated and to continue to cook in the steam, so be it. If you are a fan of cooking your food in oil and using the steam from oil, then you should just add a lot more oil as you begin the recipe. So then when you cover it, then all of the oil will actually help to generate the steam to cook down the eggplant. As you can see, the tomatoes have completely, thank you Kamlesh ji, you're so sweet. The tomatoes have completely become this tomato paste, and it's a combination of the tomatoes that we put plus the dry spices powder that we put in there that is actually helping to do this. This is not a curry dish. So all of this, whatever this little pasty gravy consistency is going to ultimately go and attach itself to the body of the eggplant. The potatoes are already falling apart, so I know that it's actually almost there. I do have to put a little pressure when I try to cut it. So it's almost there, and the timing of it is going to be that by the time all the eggplants are tender, and you can actually just take the eggplant and you can press that and see if it's cooking or not, right? So it's pretty tender over here, but this part is still yet to cook. So if I feel like I need to add a little bit more moisture and let it sit on a medium to low flame for about 15 minutes or so, I should totally do that. Another little bit of cilantro and some water should do the trick. Just a little bit of water, just a little bit. Don't add too much because it's not a gravy dish. We just need enough water to generate enough steam to get this process going. Okay, so this is it. It's going to do its thing. Now it's time to wind up and definitely get a manicure because now my fingers are yellow from stuffing the eggplant. Okay, I am going to keep all of these things back in the refrigerator. I will come back in the evening tonight, and then finished rolling up all of the spring rolls so that I'll be ready for tomorrow. The full menu. Do you want to know the full menu? Okay, let me just take a second and tell you the full menu. So the full menu for tomorrow's Chinese inspired lunch brunch is, it's an Indian Chinese brunch. I'm going to start with a dumpling soup. So I'm going to bring store-bought dumplings which have chicken and vegetables in it, and put those into my Instant Pot, and I'll make a broth. There is definitely a YouTube video that I've done which tells you how to make your broths more flavorful. So check it out. If you can't find it, send me a link and I'll send you, send me a message and I'll send you a link to that. Then I'm going to do the spring rolls with the chicken. You already saw that. The third thing I'm going to make is a shrimp in a garlic Szechuan sauce. I'm also going to do a Mongolian lamb stir fry. Then I'm going to make an egg and basil fried rice. I'm going to do, I thought of doing noodles, but I've kind of ditched the idea. I don't think I'm going to have that kind of time because they're going to be here at noon. I will be going live a couple of times to show you how the prep is going. So, you know, to stay notified, just follow this page, like this page, and keep your notifications on, so I'll be able to, when I go live tomorrow, you'll be able to see all of that. And I'm going to serve a little white rice on the side, plus for dessert I'm going to serve the banana wontons with mango sorbet, because one of our guests is dairy intolerant. So yeah, that's the whole plan. This is the entire prep list of all of the stuff that I have to do tomorrow, between tonight and tomorrow. I hope I'm going to see you again tomorrow when I come on the live. Definitely keep your notifications on and stay tuned to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. If you're not already following my page, definitely check it out. Go to my website, queenscurrykitchen.com. There is a free, yes, a free chana masala download recipe for you that you can actually use to break the ice with Indian food. If you've never tried Indian food, it's a great starting point. You should definitely consider it. It's a recipe that doesn't require any special ingredients. Everything is easily found in the supermarket or in your pantry. So I would encourage you to start there. There are also many books on the subject, like the Breads of India, Curry Secrets from our restaurants. My family owns 5 restaurants in Manhattan. So all of the curry secrets that our chefs use to make those creamy, delicious curries that you get in your takeout box when you get Indian takeout, all of those secrets have been compiled into a book. And if you want to check out that book, just head over to my website, queenscurrykitchen.com. You'll see the links to all of the books. We also have spices and spice blends. We also have chai masala. All of that is on the website. It's your go-to resource. And if you get stuck with ideas and you don't know what to do with stuff, then you know what? Send me a message. I'm super accessible. Tag me in anything that you create. My Facebook handle is Queen's Curry Kitchen and my Instagram handle is Indian Food Queens. So I hope I'll see you again. This recipe is pretty much almost done. Here, this is what it looks like. It shouldn't have a gravy. It shouldn't be a runny soup. So all of the tomatoes and the potatoes are breaking down and they're going to go and attach themselves and enrobe the baby eggplant. It's super flavorful, super delicious. It's a very simple dish, completely vegan. You can make it in your home at any time. So if you have 15 or 20 minutes of time, you can definitely whip this up. Like I said, use spices that you know what to do with. Don't be afraid to embrace flavor. Be blissful and flavorful, and I will catch you on the other side. I will be back tomorrow with some more live videos as I progress into making the Indo-Chinese lunch, and I'll show you pictures of everything. I'll show you the prep of what I'm doing. I may be a little pressed for time because my guests do arrive at noon. So I'll try to do the best I can. And even if I don't go live, I'll still put pictures on my Facebook, my Instagram, and my TikTok. So you'll get the techniques, you'll get quick recipes from there as well. Like always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do hope that you and your families are going to have a lovely holiday season. Until then, be blissful and flavorful. And don't forget that families that dine together, shine together. I'll see you again real soon. Until then, goodbye and God bless. Bye.